Here is the argument to convince left-leaning American black men to vote for Donald Trump and today's Republican Party. The Waterford Report Part 1. A dystopian solution, consciously, subconsciously, or unconsciously. Here's the reason why men, black men of American descendants of slavery in particular, would rather live in a real-time 21st century version of The Handmaid's Tale over the democratic status quo. Donald J. Trump and the Republican Party are just the means to an end. American descendants of slavery refers to descendants of enslaved Africans in the area that would become the United States, from its colonial period onward, and to the political movement of the same name. Both the concept and movement grew out of the hashtag #ATIS created by Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore. With great power comes great responsibility, and the black woman has abused the great power, quasi-reparations, that the American government has bestowed upon her. See 1965, The Moynihan Report. The Negro Family, The Case for National Action. Instead of using the hand up, the US government gave the black woman to uplift herself and her black family, husband, wife, children, rules be damned. She used those tools consciously, subconsciously, or unconsciously, to separate herself from the black man, black family, and consequently, the black community. I have had a lifetime of actively listening to men, barbershop talk, men's rights advocates, the black manosphere long-form discussions, and numerous men's content in general. And I think consciously, subconsciously, or unconsciously, this is the direction a growing number of black men are deciding to take. It seems that the consensus in America, by all sides, by people of good faith, is that there are social and structural issues, some established at the inception of our country, that need to be addressed and corrected. But what tends to happen in correcting these issues is an overcorrection, which eventually needs to settle in a place that's reasonable, manageable for the country. Overcorrection is natural, some would say needed to achieve a place of compromise. Think of negotiating your pay at a new job opportunity or bidding for a contract. Generally speaking, it is not wise to lead with the amount you actually want. Instead, you would ask for an amount above what you expect and negotiate to what you want. This strategy often gets you what you want and are comfortable with, if not more than you thought you could get. But when the overcorrection persistently continues, in what seems to be an untenable trajectory, you get Donald J. Trump, MAGA, the current iteration of the Republican Party, and an uninspired, good-faith-leaning voter pool. What no one in the media or the halls of power will clearly say is what most Americans are thinking, even left-leaning Americans. And here it is. Today's America is a shit show. The Waterford Report, A Dystopian Solution Part 2. What I have gathered from men, black men in particular, is a top-of-the-list outline of what's driving them to vote Republican or vote with their feet, and not vote at all. The outline, just to name a few, includes the following: fettered masculinity, overcorrection, modern feminism, overcorrection, overtly biased family court, overcorrection no-fault divorce, overcorrection, illogical child custody laws, overcorrection unfettered paternity fraud, overcorrection unfettered welfare state, overcorrection, defunding of skilled trade programs and programs that help foster upward mobility, overcorrection. Mainstream Republicans, in their present iteration, lie, cheat in public, and have zero shame in doing so. Power is paramount to the modern-day Republican. And to the modern-day Republican Party, it appears the great experiment, democracy, isn't more important than power. It also appears these Republicans have concluded that the great experiment, democracy, has been tried and found wanting. This makes the Republican Party the perfect conduit to reset the status quo. Oh yes, there will be pain, collateral damage, death, and potentially 10, 20, 50 years of a Handmaid's Tale-style America, of which black people in particular will likely suffer the most. Why 10, 20, 50+ years of a Handmaid's Tale-style America, you ask? Because once the Republican Party gains control of the three branches of government, legislative, executive, and judicial, the party has proven that it will take whatever steps are required to hold and insulate power. It sounds diabolical, I know. But unless your eyes and ears have been closed for the last 16 years, or willful ignorance is the medication that helps you sleep at night, it is not a secret that the Republican Party plays to win at all costs. Truth, decency, decorum, precedent, rules, laws, and God be damned. And Democrats consistently bring dull butter knives to a fully automatic AR-15 gunfight. Sad but true. Some would argue that this approach is wink-wink on purpose. By no means will the Republican Party's dismantling of democracy be to help the plight of the black man. Arguably the lion's share of the positive outcomes black men have gleaned from the Republican Party's policies and programs have been despite whom those benefits actually targeted. The seeming benefits for black men have been more of the effects of trickle-down economics. Trickle-down economics is a term used in critical references to economic policies that favor the upper income brackets, corporations and individuals with substantial wealth or capital. But black people have learned to turn lemons into lemonade, especially when we are motivated, or, let me not tiptoe around it, forced to work together. The Waterford Report, a dystopian solution. Part 3. God knows I do not like this approach, but apparently this is the only way. Without the foundation of strong black families, husband, wife, children, black people don't have and can't build anything substantial or sustainable, much less a strong black community. Unfortunately, those empowered by the United States government, black women, consciously, subconsciously, or unconsciously are used to help destroy the black community. The black woman will not use the tools the United States government has bestowed upon her to uplift and build the black community. So what are our options? Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. Frederick Douglass. The American black woman concedes nothing, especially when demanded. Jean-Paul D. Waterford. So it seems that we are at an impasse. Sign language. The word sign as an acronym reads, shame, insults, guilt, need to be right. P. Kevin Samuels, The Godfather. But rest assured that bad faith arbiters reading this report will initiate the sign language protocol, as this is the easiest way not to deal with the subject matter at hand. But know that I do not like nor necessarily want this path to be the path that sets the black family, and thus the black community, back on track. But what other options do we have? Democrats, with some of their policies and programs, will keep dividing the American black family and continue digging the grave deeper and deeper for the black community. Why? Because undergirding and subsidizing the Democrats' largest voting pool, black women, with policies and programs detrimental or, at the very least, unhelpful to the black family and community, just makes political sense. I almost think the rank-and-file Democrat leadership really believe undergirding and subsidizing the black woman is helping the black family and community. Could Democrats be that naive, or do they know what they are doing? I think it's a bit of both. Right, wrong, or indifferent, what men demand from our political parties and how we vote, with our feet or in the booth, will dictate the status quo. Handmaid's Tale, or something better than both options. But the consensus is clear. America is a shit show at present. The black family and community is 10 times worse. The American black family, which consists of a husband, wife, and children, must change its trajectory toward the positive. How will we achieve that goal, by choice or by force? Only time will tell. Aikido, a Japanese form of self-defense and martial art that uses locks, holds, throws, and the opponent's own movements. It takes a nobleman to plant a seed for a tree that will someday give shade to people he may never meet. D. Elton Trueblood, The Waterford Report, a dystopian solution by Jean-Paul D. Waterford, Fall 2022.